Welcome to the show. We have guests tonight. We have Dalibor. We have Jules, the alchemist. We have Grandpa Brian. We're waiting for a couple more. We are discussing virtual reality is not necessarily a reality of virtue. I wasn't there for part one, so I'm here for part two. So you guys will have to kind of guide me on this, on how it's going. And there's Queen of Courts. There she is. Hi, Queen of Courts. How you doing?
Good, good. I finally figured, got where the link was and everything. So
Okay.
thank you, John.
Hi, Beatrice.
Plus it's a holiday here, and
It is here too, as well.
well, we're both
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Canada. We're both in Canada,
Yeah. So yeah.
so let
Well,
me. I just need to
well, I
turn my
just wish
volume.
everybody a happy Easter. Instead of an Easter, it'll be happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Ether.
That's
Happy
correct, Jules.
Ishtar.
That's what I mean. So I've been enjoying the whole day of the ether, as it were.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
A good one. Yeah.
All right. So we're just waiting for Teresa, but we can get started. You guys, we're talking about virtual reality and the various aspects of it.
Well, I guess we could start where we left off, except that since that was such a long time ago, I think it's better if we just recapitulate. Well, like in the sense of what it is we mean by virtual reality, and I would define that as any kind of system that's not natural that changes our perception of the natural world around us. It can include things as prosaic or as simple as a map, because a map has things on it that are not there in reality, but only appear virtually, so to speak.
Cool. So any unnatural simulation of reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It could also include things like symbolism. It could include things like religion. It could include things like history or a narrative about a certain place or about yourself and your relationship to the rest of the universe. Basically, virtual reality is the intersection of
There you are.
truth,
Okay, I had to
truth,
stop. There you are.
self, and consciousness, and how those three entities meet up together.
Geez, then,
Sorry,
then
Teresa. I had to
based,
stop share screen to get you in there. I only had so many slots.
Ah,
That's what
okay.
was happening there.
but
Okay.
based on what you said, Dalabar, you could even then take mathematics, quantum mechanics, the whole last 100 years
Writing,
with
start
With
writing.
Einstein,
Art,
from
art.
scientific
Yeah.
experimentation to the quantum physics mathematical model, which is just
Mhm.
symbolism for our reality that they went to. So that would include all of that, including our, uh, digital system that we've created that we're on now, as far as a platform and our whole hexadecimal system and everything.
Mhm.
That, if you're based on what you just said.
Well, yeah, virtual reality, or what passes for virtual reality, changes with the times because it changes with technology. Back in the olden days, all we had was maps, printed maps, and nowadays, as technology has progressed beyond that, we're in the domain of the internet. So now the internet is a different form of virtual reality, or it's used to create a different virtual reality. Just like we're in a virtual space together, all six of us, when in reality we're all in different parts of the world. So to have different efforts been made to simulate reality and make our interactions under one roof, so to speak, inside things like the metaverse or things like Second Life or various virtual reality games. I mean, most people understand virtual reality and know what it is, but I think it's a good idea to define the concept, because by defining it, we see what the origins of it are, and that's the desire of people to escape regular reality and enter a different reality, which may or may not be better.
Or maybe a different layer of reality would be more appropriate.
A
But
layer.
maybe, Dalabar, as far as the panel, maybe we should start over and go back one step, and maybe we should start with, well, what is our reality to begin with, if we're looking at another layer of virtual reality on top of our reality that we're in. So maybe let's look at the concept of the reality that maybe we think we're all in currently, or we reside in, and how we feel about that.
much speculation about that too.
Yeah, so
What
maybe
is our
let's,
reality?
yeah, and then which I don't think we really understand at any level truly. We all speculate. We have all these theories. I could name my arm full of them, right, Jules? Up to my right. There's so many of them, right? So it's all perspective and everything else. But
That's
yeah,
right.
let's start with what we think reality is, or our current reality, before we get into the what we figure is the virtual that we're in as well.
I'll say a word to start with, right? Naturally. So artificial, artificial. It's art if I see I all. So someone arty had to create it, didn't they?
So say that
Yeah.
again. Someone what?
Well, it's artificial is art if I see I all. So someone arty had to create the
Created.
artificial.
So they had to
Yes,
be a
but
pretty arty and creative, is what you're saying.
well, not
That's right.
necessarily. Not necessarily, because artifice is also in that word, artifice. And
Yeah, so's
artifice.
art, smart, fart,
Mhm.
part.
Yeah, but
Art's in lots of words.
artifice implies deception.
Yeah.
Oh, good
Anyway.
point, Dalabar, because it is kind of, we feel, a deception to that whole reality and how much we want to partake in that reality, right? So it is a deception of how much energy we want to put into that, and how much of our current spirit, soul, reality we want to put into that environment. So that is good. Oh, that is interesting. So good point.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I'll rest on that matter.
Yeah.
Mhm. Basically, what passes for reality for most people is what enters their mind through their five senses and the extended senses, which include things like television and newspapers. And those aspects of information that we derive from television and newspapers are, for the most part, dictated by what the sponsors want. So you could say that basically your whole outlook on current events is nowadays dictated by companies like Pfizer.
Yeah.
Not mine.
That's right. I was going to say, like Jules, only if you allow it, right? It's really interesting you say that, Dalabar, because I will engage and look at that side and look at the platform, realizing exactly what they're displaying or what their narrative is, to realize that isn't the exact inverse of what I would want in my reality.
Yeah.
And realize the that I don't want to partake in it and the lies, to then realize that I want to create the exact opposite within my own reality of being. So I do look at it only to to realize what I don't want. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly, because that idiot box or television or that extended sensory input, it forces you to concentrate or focus your attention on things that are outside what your five senses can see. So you're forced to care about things on the other side of the planet, which you're not involved with. Absolutely, like
Yeah.
what do I care if there's a bus accident in Indonesia, or something? Yes, it's horrific, but I can't possibly empathize with those people and I can't help them. I can't do anything about it. So why is my attention being directed specifically
Well,
to that or
because
other
the
disasters?
will of the masses carries along that spell to us.
It's
Well,
a
it's not the will of
distract.
the masses.
It's a distraction. It's
Yeah.
part of the whole
Because
matrix of the reality
we're
to distract us from
yeah.
Well,
what we are supposed to do, right, Jules? Or if you get that distraction, that's what it is. The more they present to you, the more they can take you down the rabbit hole. And what I realized within this framework of our reality is that no matter what you're looking for within this reality, especially the makeup of our internet, how we have it, it always present to you what you look for, in enough to keep you distracted within this matrix to the actual the actual of time taken to know thyself and to what we're really meant to do. So the more the reality can distract you from your path and your goals and creation within this, that's what it does. It just distracts you.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, yeah, it distracts you from things that are important to you personally, by forcing your attention on things that do not affect you personally. Things that have no bearing on your reality, like is it the Coke candidate or the Pepsi candidate?
Well,
Neither. Neither.
Yeah. Or
Exactly.
is there?
I kind of think it's a little bit of it's a lot of
It's the water
knowing
candidate.
knowing the kind of
Yeah.
things that'll push your buttons, knowing what your trigger, knowing what humanity's triggers are, the main things that trigger kids, adults, women. I mean, they make a study of this. It's like almost like marketing and sales approach. What will have the most effect on what age group and in what geographic locations? It's just part of a campaign. And as soon as you understand that this is all a campaign, how many people watched Wag the Dog? Remember that movie, Wag the Dog?
Mhm.
No.
No.
Where they
Yep.
set up
Yeah,
a fictitious war, and they set up these green screens and put these women in distress in the battlefield and all this. And it was all for a campaign. And that's what's going on. That's what I think this reality is. It's the world reality that we've created as far as what we see, feel, and experience, the beauty of, our environment, things like that. But when it comes to what's going on, actions speak louder than words. And so what we're seeing is all this scenario being played out that's false narrative, full of false flags meant to push our buttons and throw us over the edge.
Well, that's because it's the corporate media. It's the corporations that are basically setting the tone of what we see and what we experience. And what does the corporate world want? It wants consumers. The whole point of the media is to
It
make
wants
you a consumer
codependency.
of something. It wants you to be a consumer of something, whether that be a product or a mindset or a drug, or in the case of movies that glorify crime, they want you to be a consumer of the legal system, of legal services, that you will inevitably need once you commit some of these crimes that are so glorified in the media.
They want to
Well-
create a codependency, and it's
Well,
not
let's put-
necessarily
let's-
chemical.
Let's put it this way, okay? We create our reality collectively, consciously on this planet, all of us. So the more that we take in through the television, through radio, through any means to create our reality, collectively rules as a majority. So what it is, you have to have a certain amount of majority of people or energy in the collective consciousness to believe a certain reality or want to create a certain reality that does create the reality. This is why the world is in the state that it is. Think about it. You have to have a certain number of people to create that energy and create their reality. So the more people that watch certain media, certain news, from the beginning of the radio that we started way back, and then the television, which is television, propaganda programs and everything else. So what happens is that they just want to make sure that they get a certain percentage of people within our reality, however that is on this planet, to create a reality. And this is how it works. So that's why they push it. They just concerned about a certain number of people, right, Jules? As long as they can get a certain percentage of the population to believe a certain thing, that's what we live within. And the only thing we can do is create our own bubbles. We can create our own bubbles of energy that we can control within our certain space, right? And that's what we're responsible for, right? We have these big bubbles, and that's what we can do, and that's what we have direct control over. And as well, once we do that, we can influence with our energy and manifest that outward and influence and hopefully change the energy of those bubbles beside us and those that interact with us, like our community of unity. And with each one of us that we overlap these energies, we're changing it. We're changing our reality. And hopefully, as we gain more and more people, we change that reality step by step. It's one person at a time. It's clean up your own backyard without looking halfway across the world, right? And so if your bubble is nice and happy and clean, then you'll influence all those bubbles of reality around you.
Correct.
True.
Yeah, theoretically, true. Yeah, theoretically, this is true because the mind cannot distinguish between true information and false information, or at least at the subconscious level. So, if you're seeing a fictional depiction of violence, it's the same thing as if you're watching a real depiction of violence. So, for that reason, it's important to realize how much the media as such affects you, and to self-curate the type of media that you expose yourself to, and only engage with positive media, because all that negative media, all that propagation of things like crime and punishment shows and thrillers and stuff like that has a negative impact on your life.
That's why I walk barefoot always on the grass and look at trees.
Yeah, it's again what you're saying, Dalabar. It's a choice of what you decide to immerse yourself energetically and view and observe and want into your energetic system, right? So if you choose to engage in whatever shows or programs or whatever you decide, that exactly that energy, that vibration completely goes within your own energetic shell, right? And your
Well,
aura.
it's like going to a shopping store and you've got your menu or you've got your grocery list and you reach up on the shelf, you take down the items that you want. And so every day we go shopping. And most of us wake up and turn on the computer. And what do we have? We have YouTube channels, Twitter, you name it, it's out there. Every platform you can think of, every email platform. And we go shopping. And we load up our shopping cart for the day. And we decide what that's going to be, what that reality is going to be. Now, I could choose to make it all Bugs Bunny cartoons and happy-go-lucky singing in the rain, dancing music songs, or I could choose to load it up with every political piece of news that's coming across and pot shots of people arguing, and I could put horror stories, and I mean, you name it. It's just a whole menu. So it's kind of like you are what you eat.
That's right, Theresa.
You are what you think. You are what you think.
Let's put it this way. The first thing you do when you get up in the morning is not to turn on your computer, not to engage in outside yourself for influences. I mean, the first thing I do in the morning is you do your internal stuff and you do your meditations, you do your
connect with nature
and everything else other than connecting first in balance and make sure you're centered and you have, you know, yourself. So, I mean, anybody that the first thing they do in the morning is to turn on the television or to turn on your computer or turn anything outside of yourself on first is silly.
Yeah, but I think they start out harmlessly wanting to say hi and good morning, and then it segues into a full-blown discussion before you've even had your coffee or tea or meditation or, you know, so sometimes I don't turn it on until 10 o'clock and I get up at like 6:30 or 7.
It depends on people's routines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it depends on I shouldn't say that, because sometimes it depends on like you'll get up and do your things. Like Brian might be able to comment on this, because I know that he has a morning routine, and I don't know like how soon you get up, Brian, or whatever, but I know
he goes to work.
But nobody sends such beautiful good morning wishes.
Yes, but he does it before he goes to work.
But it has such positive impact. And again, that's the opposite side of giving love and thing if you're going into that. But like Brian, I don't know when you do that within the morning. I don't think you don't get up, you wake up and then I'm not sure. How do you do that? Like when in the morning do you do that?
I'm the type of person where if I'm not where I'm supposed to be 45 minutes before it's that time, I'm late. So I'm sitting in the work parking lot 45 minutes before work. So, you know, sitting there watching the sun come up and just text everybody in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them
Yeah.
routines that I got
But
It's
into.
part of his meditation almost, you know?
yeah, but you do your self
Yeah.
wake your self morning thing first to balance yourself, and you have I'm sure a routine that you do first to
Mhm.
center yourself and energize, whatever you do in the morning before you reach out to, to the rest of the community,
Mhm.
to say good morning, to say hello. You would have your own, things that you do, I would imagine.
Oh,
I like the
oh
kind
yeah.
of things
Always make
Michelle.
sure I'm grounded in the morning.
I like
Yeah.
what Michelle Cannon Free does when she wakes up. Now she's got a different cycle than the rest of us. Her sleep cycle is different because of her son. I think it's still this way. She usually comes to life in the later part of the day, after noon, after 1 o'clock or whatever. And if she has time, she'll go for a walk. She'll go to the store. She'll take her son out, and she meditates, or she goes through these memes on different channels. And that's her way of meditating, is to read and meditate on the words, and then she shares what she thinks is good to share with other people. Same way you say come in and say good morning, hello. She shares out these memes that she's picked up by connecting with other people in the tribe, or other channels. But they give you something to think about. And that's how she does her. So she does 2 in 1. Connects with everybody but still meditates. It's her way of meditating.
Yeah,
Well,
which there are many ways, right? I mean,
Yeah.
meditation is just a matter of
Yeah.
shifting your consciousness or your reality, and there's so many ways that
Yeah.
you do that energetically throughout the day. We do it constantly throughout the day in so many ways, from daydreaming
So
to just
it's all
pausing
day.
to all day long.
What?
We're
Yeah,
doing
you
it.
don't actually, like, I don't particularly go and lay down to meditate. I haven't really
I don't
done that
either.
no, it's just you're doing the floor, you're in the shower, you're washing up, and something will come to you because you're just doing what you do. And then you'll get, oh, I'll go write a poem.
Yeah. So
You know,
have we
I don't,
decided in the first 20 minutes here, if we decided what we asked last time, and that is reality outside of the virtual world, how do we define that reality? I say reality is whatever we think it is, whatever thought we've created. What is your feeling on it, Brian?
Uh,
What do you
yeah,
think?
I believe everybody creates their own reality. But like right now, we each have our own reality, but we're having a shared reality with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll through the course of the day, you have your own reality, but you'll interact with other people, and at that point in time,
Right.
I do believe you're having a shared reality. You two or 3, 4 people are creating a reality just by your conversations or just being around each other.
Mm-hmm.
well, see, while it's true that yeah, you do to a degree create your own reality, but you don't always get to create your own reality because a lot of time reality intrudes upon your own reality in various ways. But it's also very much dictated by things like your job. Okay, like a medical doctor is going to look at a situation on the street differently than say a cop. Same way, a rich man's going to be looking at a street scene differently than a poor person.
But
So, it's all dependent on your physical station in life to a
that's right.
degree.
But that
If you're sick,
they're
you're
still
going to be looking
creating.
at it differently than if you're healthy.
Yeah, but they're still creating their own reality, no matter their circumstance, Dalabar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do in life. It doesn't matter if they're sick, poor, ill, whatever. Every single entity, every single piece of energy on this planet, whether it's the mineral kingdom, right up to the plant, right up to mammal, whatever, everything is creating their own reality of consciousness on this planet, or they wouldn't even be existing here. We wouldn't even see them, how things get created here in the energetic form. So I go back to maybe the reality. Let's go back. Let's start at maybe, I think when you started talking, I thought maybe reality is just energy. And what is energy then?
That's a chicken and the egg question.
That's what I wanted to ask
Does
John.
reality is reality created by consciousness, or is consciousness created by reality? Right? Because
Yeah.
everything, if you consider that everything is energy and all energy has consciousness, if you can agree with that, then everything is creating its own reality. This lighter, the stone, anything
That's
is
right.
creating its own reality and holding its own form and its own consciousness. So we could kind of define differences as active creativity or active creation and passive creation, because they're passively creating their own existence, but they're actively uh, created upon by us when we make them into statues or other things.
Yeah, and reality is very strange
You go,
because, like,
John.
you look at just the reality that we live in, and we'll take just for example, a rabbit outside, and you could be observing, or a rabbit could be sitting out in the grass, completely non-aware of you, not aware of anything else, but has the reality of a rabbit. And the rabbit is living its reality with no awareness of you over there and your reality and its own world and however it manifests its in this world. So, and that goes with everything, including each one of us, and how it works somehow. So
Until I interact with them, and
till you
then he
interact with
scares,
it.
then he runs like hell.
That's right. Until there's some kind of interaction, right?
Yeah.
Until there's some
Mhm.
kind of overlap of that, and then you can decide how that manifests, right? I guess somehow.
Interesting thought. Does the passive, if you put two passive entities or creators next to each other, do they interact, and does that change their energy? Can they augment their energy? Excuse me, I have to blow my nose.
Are they? But the question is are
Oh,
they?
that's okay.
Are they like? Are they masculine and feminine? Are they polar opposites, or are they the same?
Yeah, that would be the question, right? For if you're talking about direct energy, Teresa Delabar, you guys can comment on that. You're right. What kind of energy? Would because if you had two of the same energy, you wouldn't have that interaction or movement as compared to the polar opposites that you would need for
Yeah.
movement, right?
Mm-hmm. But the
Well,
reason I bring
not
it up is because here's um, how I differentiate sometimes. This is where my current thinking is. So don't think I can't change my mind, folks. But from what I understand right now, what I've experienced myself is that if I want to fantasize, I can create a fantasy, which is different than a reality. Or is it? Hang on. I can put myself in a situation like daydreaming where I wish something was a certain way, but I know it's not reality because I make it up as I go along. Whereas if I travel to a different dimension or I shift a frequency into a different reality, I'm not creating it as I go. It's just a different version of what I'm experiencing now. And I'm actually living the story, but I'm not the one. In other words, it's exists as a fixed time, and I can be there with some of you experiencing that reality and come right back to here. But I can think about something else and put myself somewhere that I create temporarily. And I could do it without my polar opposite. I could do it without the masculine. I'm just one, divine and feminine. But when I want to shift frequencies, usually into a past life, I need that balance. I need that partnering. I have a harder time doing it. So that's why I'm saying, does reality exist outside of a relationship between opposites? Can you create and just be male or female energy? Do you need to have that polar opposite? I think we answered that question with Amma and the spark with Laird Scranton.
You have to, I think, in this reality that we live in, and within this dimension of duality, to have any kind of movement and creation, you have to have that offset. You have to, or else there is no movement, there is no creation, there is no energy. So I think
Okay.
you have to have that up,
well,
down, back
Okay.
and forth,
if that's your
positive,
consciousness.
negative, everything
Okay.
to
Now,
have movement.
if we say we agree that there's has to be this, then what are we afraid of when it comes to computer systems and virtual reality? because virtual reality is neither male nor female. It doesn't have the code. It doesn't have the male female, does it?
Well, it does. It has ones and zeros.
That's
Yeah.
the old binary way, but this new visual way with video, they've
Yeah,
No,
just
it's still
recorded.
no,
they've just
no,
recorded.
Got the push
still
and pull of
same, still
electrons.
same.
It's got-
Why,
Still
Karen?
same.
Why? No. Tell me why.
No, it's
Tell
still
me why.
same. It's still no, that's an illusion. It's still the same algorithms. It's still based on the same. I don't know.
Well, let me
Video's
interject
not
here on it.
ones and zeros.
Let me interject on this. You think
That-
you need a polar opposite only because you manifest two polar opposites within yourself. It's dictated by the physical structure of your body. You have a left brain and a right brain, a male brain and a female brain. That creates duality. That's why we created a computer system that uses ones and zeros, which are pretty
So
much
we don't need
the
male
exact
gods.
opposites.
We don't need male
which is
gods or
basically
female
plus-
goddesses, right?
No, that's irrelevant. It's we create male and female goddesses because we ourselves have two different brains.
All right.
We ourselves are dualistic, but if we had like a three-lobed brain, then
Okay.
we would have come out with not binary math but trinary math, which includes ones, which includes plus, minus, and zero, and not just 0 and 1.
So we
See what I
don't
mean?
need opposites to create.
Not necessarily. No.
So we don't need
No,
positive
I wasn't
charges and
saying
negative
you
charges.
had to create. It was just to for movement after the creation. Within
To
this
interact.
reality, we're just talking about within this reality that we're in.
Okay.
Well, because you can have like positive, there's no such thing as positive reality and negative reality. Just like there's no such thing as antimatter. I sincerely do not believe in the existence of antimatter because nobody's ever shown me a piece of it.
Well,
I
who was
believe in a more
talking about?
positively charged or a more negatively charged
Yeah.
environment.
Yes, yes, John. But I
Say
wasn't
that
even
again.
talking
Say that.
about that.
Sorry, say that
Yeah.
again, John. I missed what you
I
said.
believe in a more positively charged or a more negatively charged environment. Like right
Yes.
now, I think we're in a more more negatively charged part
The
of the
frequency.
universe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got that? I agree with
Yes,
that.
yeah,
So
I have
there's,
to
but
agree
even
with
at
that as
the
well.
extremes of the negative, there's still positive. So
Because we
still
use electrons, and electrons are negatively charged particles,
if
and
you
we've
look
only
at that as a torus.
because we're flowing electrons, which are negative
Everything goes back to the
particles.
torus field for me.
Negatively charged particles, and we make circuits out of that. But there's other subatomic particles that have different charges, yet we still haven't figured out how to make electronic circuits that feature positrons or
Mhm.
neutrons or other subatomic particles. Why is it always all about the electron?
Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could, in that sense, you could say that you need a counterpart to the electron, and for that would be the ground, that would be the earth.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Well,
back
even an
to
electron
electricity.
itself has a positive and negative field.
But then
No,
going-
it doesn't. No,
Yep.
it's all negative. The atom has a positive and negative, but the electron itself is the negative.
Okay, let's get back to the virtual reality world because I'm not convinced,
maybe.
Karen. I'm not convinced that when
That-
you're playing a video that you're dealing with positive and negative or positive charges, negative charges. You've got one state and it's on and a video is playing.
No,
now
that's
what
not
went
true.
into making
no.
what into making it was an interaction.
No.
But
So
once
that's
it's
it.
recorded,
It can't just be on. No, you have to have that constant on-off switch, and the
That's a
computer
photon.
runs and
okay,
to,
yeah.
To make
to
a
have
photon,
any
you
kind
need
of
two
back and forth.
electrons.
Say what, John?
To make a photon, you need two electrons.
Right?
So there's a positive and negative on both. Both
Mm-hmm.
electrons that are joined together to make a photon.
Okay.
So there's the positive and negative.
Okay,
uh,
so when you have
expressed.
okay, so now we're talking about photons be free from Star Trek, right?
Now, of course, Teresa, I can't guarantee that this is how it is within other realities or realms of existence or energetic forms and physics within. I'm just talking about within our reality that we're within, which we know that we're within a duality system, right, of existence to some, in a 3-dimensional reality, or
That's
that
for sure.
crystalline tetrahedron system that we're in. So this is the reality that we are in at this present time within this avatar that we're in.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we don't have connections to other realms or other energies or other realities for ourselves, but just this reality that we're in.
It's like a layer. It's like a layer. It's like we are in a consciously agreed upon collective creation, Earth. And within that, there are various scenes we play out, and that's a soul group or family, right, Grandpa Brian, where we've agreed to
Mhm.
come back and join, be birthed into a family, with where we have some spiritual experiences from past lives, and then that's a layer of reality. Another layer of reality is the perception that we have of all these systems we've created to manage ourselves all over the world. That's another reality, and you can either choose to accept your current government or not. And I just told my brother the other day, I don't follow Montgomery County. I don't follow the governor of Maryland, and I don't believe in anything he says or does. He's not my reality, and I'll eventually be out of here. But the point is that we have layers of reality within this now.
That's correct. Just like an onion.
And
Just
we
like-
have
Just
Yeah.
like our auric fields, right? Just got to look at our energetic
Yep.
fields of ourselves.
And we have the masculine and feminine energy, and when it's out of balance, then chaos ensues. And we're also at a time where the cycle's changing and the divine feminine energy is coming back into play, because we've all talked about that. So what I'm trying to figure out is, if we want to really shift the energy and help to bring about these changes that we want to bring about, what is that formula that we need, that balance, that secret number between feminine, masculine energy?
Yeah, it's interesting, Teresa, that you would say that I've actually come to the conclusion recently, and I don't know if I should, is that we're not moving into the divine feminine. We have too much of the divine feminine, actually, and what's missing from our world is actually the masculine.
The balance
And the balance of that. And we've gone into the mum energy of the world, and I'm looking for the masculine, and we've gone overboard on the whole female thing and the female mum energy. And right now, mum's ruling the world, and it's not going so good. So I miss the masculine. I miss the male. I'm too much feminine. I'm sorry. And I'm female myself, so I can say it. I'm not a man, but man, boy, I'm missing the masculine energy, and that
You could
really male,
Yeah.
physical.
you could
I'm missing that counterpart. Let me finish. And I'm female, and we know all of us have a male, female, and I have my male, female. But it's pretty sad when I find that my male in my female is stronger than most of the males out there now. So that's pretty sad. So come on, man. No, really, it's time not. No, I don't think we need to go to the female anymore. No, enough. We've done the mum energy. No, forget that. We need to bring back the male. We need to bring that masculine energy back.
yeah.
I said that to Colleen today about the boys grabbing their balls and standing up.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, we need that. No, enough of this mum stuff. No.
It
No.
began in the 60s with Vatican II and the Catholic Church, which most people in the Western, or a lot of people in the Western world, subscribe to. When they switched from when Catholics, which I back then was, switched from being followers of Christ to being worshipers of Christ, and then after Vatican II, worshipers of Mother Mary, where the emphasis was placed on the Virgin Mother, and all this ritual and all this stuff around that. So I think that was the decision was purely political, and it was mostly to divide and conquer, you could say.
No, I just know we're way out of balance as far as that whole thing. As far as the male, female, and and just everything that's going on in the world, and trying to convince about the sexes and all of that. And anyways, that's another topic, and that's part of our reality. For some reason, they want to destroy the male energy on the planet, and it's gotten to the point of the ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
think it's also the question is that we're too fixated on this in the global West. That especially in the United States, everybody's fixated on who's gay, who's straight, who's black, who's white. I mean, the people up top, the ones who really own this planet, they don't care. They don't care about any of this stuff.
They don't
It's
own the
all for
planet
confusion.
anymore. They don't own the planet anymore. Stop saying they fucking own it. We do. We are going to be from the ground up, and we are balancing out right now. And if what's your reality is whatever you want it to be, whatever you think, that's what reality is. It's up to you what you think. You create it. It's up to you. Look at the word reality. It's
Most
it's
definitely.
again, it's all. Why?
Yeah, and my whole point is to for people to look at the whole thing, Jules, like you say, and the balance, right? And I'm trying to say is we need a balance of the male and female, not what's happening. It's always out of balance, and you can tell the world is out of balance in some way. So it's a balancing thing. So and it starts within every person individually, like you say, in your own reality and the balance within yourself of your own male and female, and where you sit.
Stop blaming people. Stop blaming someone else. It's up to you. If you think it's crap, well, you're going to create more frigging crap.
Yep.
So it's up to you. It's up to you individually. Everyone has to see how beautiful it is. Look, I'll show you what I'm looking at.
Pretty much, yeah.
While I'm looking at U6, I'm actually looking at the hills and the trees. So I've got two realities going on here at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that exactly. So we get into then about the virtual reality part and about I guess this whole thing about what we are residing on, right, Jules, and about how much time we do spend within this virtual reality, even within our community or different things with, because it's layer upon layer of realities, right? And then we have to look at, well, this new thing called the metaverse coming and, how much time we do spend within this virtual space and what that does. So,
yeah.
Well, the beauty of it is that you can change the virtual reality much easier than you can change real reality or objective reality, if I can use that term. It's a lot easier to change a map than to change a landscape.
So but based on what you're saying, Dalabar, is that basically if people feel the reality is difficult to change or it's so bad, it's going to be so much easier to change and have whatever they can't have within this reality. It's going to be easier in the metaverse to create whatever they can't within this. So that's going to be the draw.
I think so, yeah. Just like in medieval times, you had people escaping into the virtual reality of religion, where, you had people that isolated themselves from the society at large in things like monasteries. And that's basically what we're seeing with the internet age, is we're seeing basically mass outbreaks of monasticism.
Well, I'm not seeing that because I'm not there in that world.
That's right, Jules. Yeah.
You're not observing it. Yep.
We hear about it, the cheese, the cheesy poof guy who's got it in his basement on the computer all day.
Yeah.
See, I've hardly watched a movie in my life, right?
Yeah.
I've hardly seen any movies being put in front of me to make my mind change from what I'm being focusing on.
It doesn't have to do with movies or anything. It's just that kid that sits in the basement all day, playing on the computer. That's all. The neighbor who's got that kid,
Yeah, well, they could be doing that, but I don't have that in my world. I don't have neighbors with kids that are probably in the basement. So,
you know what? It's interesting that you would mention that, John, because they aren't interested in us. Look at the panel. I'm going to say this, and I've said this before. Look at our ages,
Mhm.
And this is why we come from a different reality.
Mhm.
Let me finish. We've come from the transition age where we're the transition from our old reality of our parents and before computers, technology. God, I was even around with black and white televisions and party lines and everything on the telephone.
Yeah, me too.
So look at our ages. So of course, what we need on our panel, and we want to talk about virtual reality and what they think is they're after the children, they're after the young. They already got them hook, line, and sinker. They're ready to do the transhumanism, get the chip, do the virtual, live in that reality, and so. Actually, we need to have some young people to get their perspective of what they think and what they want to create for the future, because it's really divergent and different from what we think and feel. Because look at our ages, really.
They
Good
are
point.
waking up very quickly, though. A lot of them are starting to realize that they're being taken down a very slippery slope, and they're speaking out very vocally. So that's a good thing. It could turn right against them, like we turned
You sure?
against
Because they
everything.
can't be more than
Oh, they're the
they
ones
can't.
that'll
You
never.
got to remember they can't
They're the
be
ones that'll
without
never
their
turn
cell
away
phone
from it,
without
right?
that device and have a.
Hey, Karen
That's what I'm
Jones.
saying. You got to look at.
But about 50% of the kids in my workplace, like under 30s, half of them don't have cell phones. They don't carry them with them.
Wow,
They don't even have plans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
that's
Only
great.
because of the well, it
And
depends. Why?
I've
Is it
heard that
because of
the sale of dumb phones is on the rise. 1 in 10 people owns a dumb phone.
Yeah, they're starting to get back to some of the basics and more simpler. They're
Yeah.
starting to realize the value of it.
Yeah.
Whereas they've been under this programming like we were
So
growing
there
up.
could be a total flip around. It depends on
Yeah.
how it goes, right? You know,
Well,
like,
But
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one thing out about that, and the difference is you just have to look at finances and why they're doing that, and the financial cost of owning a cell phone, and the plans, and the old environment, and the old setup of the economy. Children, like kids now up to a certain age, they don't have jobs, and the difference that they can't afford it. That's why they don't have them and they don't do it. Now, I'm going to say one thing is, believe it or not, I don't have a cell phone. I have never owned a cell phone. And it's not because I know better. Let's put it that way. I avoided it
I only know one
right till
person
now.
that is by not by choice, but because of economics, and he's over 30.
Yeah, and
The
my
rest of them have
age.
just chosen to do it.
And mine is because of my background, because I've been involved in it since 1979 within that, and I've rolled out everything that everybody is on. Let's put it that way.
Well,
I've
just
been a
like
coder and programmer, and there's no way in all these 40 years that I haven't had my little fingers in all these pies. So I know better than to have owned a cell phone and to be involved in all of that.
Mhm.
I still to this day will not have one.
Well, I agree with what John said. We need more young people in this community, I would say, because we really we we think we understand them. We think we know what they're thinking, but have we actually had a young
That's
person on
right.
this panel saying, "Okay, this is what I feel." Okay, because we think that we've swallowed all the world's wisdoms, just like our parents did, and we
That's
think
right.
we're better than them. Okay, and just like we think we're better than all these so-called quote-unquote young people, but that's just pure conceit, because every person who sees the next layer thinks that they've uncovered the secrets of the universe, when in fact they're only seeing one layer deep. The
No.
question is to be open to all viewpoints and all streams of thought
That's
and
right.
consciousness.
I observed my 2 grandchildren.
Yeah.
One is special
Yeah.
needs, if you wanted to call it that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's who he is. He doesn't need a label. He's
Mm-hmm.
rather intelligent. He's just not he's just not like us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got my granddaughter who's starting to speak now, and I'm sure she's more intelligent than I was at 15 months.
Over the past year, or well, about a year and a half, I've seen one youth about age 30 open the mind of another youth about age 30. I just watched them. Me and the other youth, we talk. His name's James. We talk at work about what's going on, about the whole pandemic and everything. But he tries to change the minds of people his age, and he has success. It takes time, but he has really opened up the mind of some of his coworkers that are quite young. So there is change happening. It takes
Yeah, I've
time.
had a 25-year-old French fellow that's been in our community. Oh my God, the wisdom of that young man.
Mhm.
It's a beyond for even some of the, what he can do and what he knows.
Mhm.
But he's usually on the land working. That's what he's done since he was a child. So he's worked in the land and on the land, and so he's probably watched and observed the land. You
You
know,
got the wisdom and energy from the land, which is different than
yep,
getting it again. Now we go to this artificial intelligence and virtual reality um, platform that we're talking about as far as learning, right, Jules, and getting energy and
mm,
learning and everything. So, we're talking about two different things here, right? And is there a balance between the two? I don't know. I'd have you'd have, like you said, we'd have to get a young person on the panel or some younger people to get their view on what they think as far as this whole new reality and setup that we're going. And they might think it's just the greatest thing. And my God, they're willing to give us chips and give us limited life and 200 times more our intelligence and thinking, and they're offering immortality, and they're going to be offering all kinds of things.
It does seem, though, that the metaverse has flopped amongst the youth. They wanted to charge for everything, all those what are they, uncopyable programs for overlays,
Mm.
and they just said, "Forget it, don't want it."
Well, the youth won't, because where are they getting the money?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
because the youth is broke pretty much.
That's
Yeah.
right. You see,
When
I'm
when I
back
that,
to
that was the
again the
first thing
money
I
thing.
said. When I heard, oh, you have to pay for everything. He says, this young guy at work, he says, you got to pay for everything. I'm like, screw that.
Well,
He's like,
see,
yeah, that's what everybody said. Screw that.
I would look at okay,
But
what
then
is
what happens, John, when they start realizing that, and it becomes more like a utility and it's free because they want
Be back.
Yeah,
you,
it might
because
work for
there's going to
free.
become to a point where it's going to be free eventually, like a whole portions
Yeah, I
of
don't
it.
know
So
why
they're
they
going to
didn't bring it
avoid that
out for
whole
free.
thing.
Like at least coax you in, and then have add-ons or something.
I would say, okay, the whole internet thing as a virtual reality in and of itself, I would say, what are the effects? What effects has it had on society since we've adopted it? Let's say end of the 1990s. I would say that, from my perspective, it really hasn't changed myself or any of the people I know, because I used to be the studious type. I used to spend a lot of time in the library. I do the same thing now, except that I can find a lot of all those documents online. I used to read a lot of newspapers.
So
But
much faster.
at the same time, I was also a very gregarious and very sociable person. So that too hasn't changed. That's only increased. So is my absorption of knowledge. And I would say, basically, if you were a dumbass before the internet, then the internet just helped you to become more of a dumbass. But because YouTube will serve up all manner of jumping cat, dancing baby videos, all kinds of
Yeah.
stupid
The
shit.
example at work that I
Where
gave you guys of the two people matches that perfectly, Dalibor.
yeah,
The one young man searches online, watches news feed. He's on there as soon as he gets home till when he goes to bed. The
you
other young gentleman goes home and plays video games.
exactly. See, you just like YouTube, you can use YouTube to look at MIT. You could follow MIT courses on YouTube. But just as well, you could watch some stupid jumping cat video.
But it's like anything within our reality. Again, we're talking about duality, and the internet's like anything else, the good and bad of both, and the both extremes of both, and everything in between.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on your attention and
It
your
depends
focus.
on every individual's. Let's get back to our reality and every individual's bubble of reality and what their focus is, what they want in their life, what they want to know, what they don't want to know, what they want to interchange or interact with. So again, it has to do with every individual in the reality.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So the only
Um,
thing then is where we can influence with every person within the internet, and what's really great is because when we talk about our overlapping realities and our collective realities is what's important, right? Everybody has their individual, but what happens when the whole issue comes in with having a majority of the individual realities that become the collective that create our collective reality of the world within we live is the issue here.
Yeah, exactly. Except that for the most part, a lot of our collective real reality is manipulated by the fake reality that some people put out on the internet. That we are coerced into certain belief systems that we adopt. We think that they're our own, but they actually come from big corporations. You know.
Oh, but then Delabarb almost, and none of us have an original thought when you think about it truly. There's very few of us on this planet. It's very difficult for us, any of us, to have an original thought. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I've heard that said before, but I don't think it's that impossible to be original. I mean, yes, granted, even if you were completely isolated, living by yourself on a desert island, you would probably come up with the same kind of thought processes that a normal person living in New York City would. Yes, granted. But we don't necessarily have to recycle thoughts because, just as worldwide we adopted recycling, post-consumer recycling, which doesn't work, is not cost effective. Back in the olden days, we used to call it garbage. Nowadays, we call it recycling. So I'm saying, yeah, this also applies to thoughts. That a lot of these thoughts get recycled. What used to be called garbage gets recycled as new thoughts. So I'm consciously trying to avoid thinking recycled thoughts, for want of a better word.
Hmm.
Which usually means, like, okay, if I feel something about something, I ask myself why. Okay, is it because I read this? Is it because I saw this? How about I look at it from the other perspective? A lot of people don't do that.
I do all the time.
Yeah, yeah, me too. That's, I mean, being a Gemini and just how everything is. That's all I do 24/7 is think about things,
Flip it.
and
What does it
yeah,
look like from this angle? Oh, what does it look
yeah,
like from this angle?
yeah.
Like
Well, we are
using
made to be
my.
unique,
I
so
think
there will never be anybody like you having that thought in the exact same way. But there would be similarities.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, being married to Ian for whatever, so many years, he's hardly ever read a book in his life. Never. He's never on the computer searching for anything, but he could put a motor together, he could build a house, and I would leave it in his hands to be a doctor if I needed surgery. That's how much confidence I've got in that man, and he hasn't needed to read a book or sit on the internet to study anything.
and say okay, and see, Jules, and why is that? See, why
because
is
we
that?
because we each
See,
have our specialty. We each have our specialty. Not everybody has to be a master mathematician. Not everybody has to know
Well, I
everything.
call him a master because he made nice
or
fruit
is it
buns
that we
this
gain our
morning.
knowledge?
Yeah, is that
We
his
gain
soul? Is that his
we
soul
we
evolution carrying on?
That's right. We gain our
you know,
knowledge differently and separately. He gains his knowledge. He's gained his knowledge
yeah.
otherwise than, and again, we have to look at our ages, Jules. I mean, again, your husband gained these skills and knowledges before the internet. He gained these skills and knowledges from the time he was a child, from his parents and from his childhood and everything. We're talking about
Going to work really early in his
yes.
age.
Well,
So
what we're
that
really
see,
talking about is innate abilities, like things that you're born with. Like he has the skill to understand an engine. You have the skill to use a tool
He's an engineer.
innately. It just comes innately. You're not
Yeah.
taught. You didn't
But
research it.
again, I have to stress the age. Of course, we all gained all these skills hands on when all of us did. Look at our ages.
Mhm.
And Jules' husband is no different. I don't think he's 20 or 30 or 40. So, I mean, these were all pre-internet. So he gained those skills before that, hands on. And it's like we'd have to
Well, my
really
son.
get a panel of young people and look at the real young to see how they're shaping the reality and how
Some of the ones I know are very skilled, I would say, innately.
Well, I used to think, what's my son going to be like, right? Because he didn't read too well either. Ian couldn't read. He taught himself. He didn't learn at school, that's for sure. He hated school, and Hayden didn't like it either. And the thing is, I thought, what is my son going to be like, And I saw him in the shed one day with his father, and I thought, oh, he'll be right. Because I didn't know what he was going to be like, because he was a little handful at times. As they do, as they're catalysts for you. But that wasn't learnt. That was, again, probably hands-on, and I don't think he's sat and read any books or sits on the internet searching for stuff, and he's now 35.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah, so that's the same age as my son, 35, and was my youngest, actually.
yeah, well, he's my youngest, 35.
But I do
my
think
youngest is 35.
I do think that
too.
these skills, with whether they're born with them or they're as genetic, or whether they're passed on by the soul. I've seen them in the young as well as us, the older. So it seems that the soul does evolve, whether we want it to or not.
I think the internet has
or whether we
actually.
think it will or not.
I think virtual reality or the internet has actually benefited society because it has allowed each individual to go their own way and to explore their own proclivities and their own talents. Because, back when I grew up, I went to grammar school, high school, and everybody had to follow the same curriculum, basically. But that's totally retarded because they want everybody to be a well-rounded individual. But that really makes no sense. Would you expect somebody like Einstein to be good at physical education, to know how to kick a ball? Would you expect somebody like Beethoven to excel at things like, I don't know, social studies? Climbing a rope. I mean, I flunked. In high school, I flunked phys ed in my senior year. So, and I'm probably the only person I know that flunked phys ed because I thought it was totally useless.
Zoe says people don't need to be taught. People naturally learn what they are interested in.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
it. That's
And
right.
I think you're right, Dal, but when you look at the internet on the whole and what it's done, we wouldn't be together here now tonight. We wouldn't have gathered as a community of like souls and minds and being in the same spot in this moment in time. We all have the same energy, frequencies, realizations. We've looked at all of the information we can, for our individual selves to learn, to gain the knowledge and wisdom, to be all sitting here at this same moment in time. And we would not have done it and come together without the internet and without that, what it's provided throughout the world to connect us together.
Exactly. Because I can't drive to any of your drive to any of your houses.
No.
Because I live in Europe.
And yet we found each other.
We found each other. Yes.
What's interesting is we've had some people have actually commented and said, we lost Brian, I guess he'll come back. Mm-hmm. There he is. But we've had a couple folks that have said, well, I have family members who are like, you all are speaking out of both sides of your mouths because you talk about virtual reality not being really a virtue and how this is, created an environment, but yet you guys are creating a virtual reality every time you have a show or a meeting.
Correct.
And I said, yes.
Sure.
I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we're not being two-faced. He goes, well, I don't get it. And I'm like, we're not being two-faced. The universe is providing us with a way to utilize this energy, to tap into this technology to our advantage, to be able to help uplift one another, because we are in this world. Other people are taking advantage of this, so we can too. The difference is we're more aware of how it affects us energetically, spiritually, personally. And so we're attuned to what could go wrong And that's part of why we're having this kind of a discussion. I think we should talk about some of the non-virtual aspects of all this and what it means. But also, I'm telling them, we are presented with the opportunity to take this technology and use it in a positive way that helps serve our higher purpose and helps raise our energy, helps us educate and increase knowledge and awareness.
Of course, Teresa, we're down again to the individual reality bubbles that we live in within each individual. That is where the freedom of choice comes in, and free will of what you want to create within your reality and how you want to use all those tools within our realities, and the internet. And this is just one of them. So again, it's all of us individually to choose which side of positive, negative, or in between, or what we want to use the tools provided within our world to create our common reality.
That's why I call it. That's why I call it a technology of freedom, because we can use this technology to our own ends and for our own purposes and for our own benefit and advancement, just as much as the people who outrank us, the people above us, are using it to try to affect us to their own image.
And we're a community of unity. Yes. And it's working, and we have the website, and we have all our platforms, and we have our shows that we're doing, and we keep adding more and more people around the world, and we're using it for the energetic purpose that we're creating in the positive. We're using it for what we want to in our reality. And so
the Ethernet.
It's
the
all
Ethernet, and it's happy ether.
But we also, hopefully, we also understand that there are like John was saying earlier, the different energies, the polar effect. And so there are certain things we use this virtual technology to do that might not be a choice that everybody wants to make. That, in other words, we have to share the channel with people who might not be like-minded beings. We're all on these virtual channels. We just do our thing, let them do their thing. Lori, that's what Lori's always saying. You go be you over there, we'll go be us over here. You believe what you want to believe, take it over there. Don't bring it on here.
That's right.
You go over there, And so we have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think the challenge today was we're all adults, right? We can have discernment. We can choose what we want to watch. We can choose what we want to be exposed to. I think that the issue today is the children and protecting the children and what they're exposed to. And this is what has to be looked at. It has to be looked at, and the parents or people, the adults have to take a bit more responsibility in what children are exposed to, because the internet has that whole negative side, that whole we don't need to get into it, right? So I think that's the only issue as far as balance and because that part of it, that side of the virtual reality, that side of it are after the children and after what they think and believe, and the energy. So that's would be the only thing. Again, it's the young people, right?
Yeah, in response to one of the commenters, I would say, we're on a technological platform, and you can only access us through this technological platform, and it's not like we're going to go back. It's not like you'll ever see Andromeda 7 on VHS or on 8-track or gramophone discs or LP.
Could you imagine?
You're not going to get us on LP.
Tin cans.
Yeah.
Gazakov says it's really good to connect with you guys. Otherwise, I would be alone. No one understands what we go through, and we find each other through the internet.
Exactly.
And I agree wholeheartedly.
Exactly. We would not have found each other.
Yeah,
and it's our energy, it's our energy itself. It's all our choices, every decision that we've made within the matrix in the algorithms of your choices that would bring us all exactly to this point, to go to the same platforms, to pick the same people, to watch the same shows, to gather in groups. It's not by accident or coincidence. We have to be energetically exactly in tune and on the same vibration and frequency, or we wouldn't be manifesting this at all. We wouldn't even be
Yeah.
people that aren't the same energy or vibration wouldn't even be watching this show. So love you all, everybody.
But that's
We're all
why.
connected.
That's
Come
why.
on, we're all the same.
And that's why we don't.
We're here.
That's why we call it a soul tribe, because these aren't like audience members. No, these are part of our tribe. All the people that are watching this right now are part of this transmission, as much as we are.
And
I'm not real tech savvy.
Let's get back to reality. The part of our reality. We have all our individuals' realities and bubbles that have combined energetically to make this community of awareness and reality. And we've created this reality. This is our community reality.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's
When I
realities
started
within the
watching-
reality, though. There's realities within the reality.
Oh, so many levels of realities within realities. I don't think we individually know how many fractals of realities we actually have.
Yeah.
Really
Well,
think about it.
I have quite a few of them, because, for
Oh, we
example,
all do.
in my native language, the word reality means real estate. Okay,
Oh,
it means real estate.
To me, it
And
means
that's my
vibrating.
preoccupation for most of my day. So that's just, I had to interject that.
To me, a reality is how you vibrate, how you choose to vibrate in an energy state with others that you're creating that reality with. Right? So you can have a big reality, the soul tribe, and then within the soul tribe, you might have people who vibrate more a certain way to do certain activities, express
Oh, sure.
themselves creatively in certain ways.
Just like in a band, you have
Right.
like the drummer,
you know what
got
I
the
would say?
singer,
But you
got
don't
the
have to
guitar-
say that
the
everything
guitar
is.
player.
let's keep it simple. Reality is existence.
Reality's an existence where you
Reality
is an existence where you choose to be.
Period.
What you
Reality
choose
is existence, no
It's
matter what.
existence, but it's not necessarily existence all in one place, meaning the same thing to everyone that's in it.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. Reality is
Simple.
your
What I'm saying is that
existence.
even within the
period.
soul tribe, there are little pockets of other realities,
Of course.
and it's okay as long as people understand it's okay to have those little pockets and not try to say, well, you all have to be one great big branch of one great. No, it's what you make it to be. It's how you vibrate in the energy that you vibrate. So you go vibe with those people all you want. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. But don't sit back and judge other people who aren't doing that.
Grandpa Brian wanted to say something.
Yeah, Brian.
I perceive reality as now, because that reality can change in an instant. So it's what you're doing and seeing right at that very moment, the now, because that reality can change instantly.
So you got my point of reality is existence, because we don't exist anywhere else. We can't physically exist anywhere else except the now. We can
That's it.
only in the past, we only have emotional attachments or emotional about thinking about the past. We can have emotional excitement and thinking about the future, but we physically don't exist anywhere except within the now. So you've got it exactly, Brian.
That's
Reality is what we exist in.
Except your
Now.
memories of the past influence the decisions you make in the future and in the present.
Oh, sure.
And that's one thing that the internet is really good at,
Yep.
is bringing up the past.
So reality
And we
exists in the
have to get
physical.
over that, though. We have
So-
to forget about the past because it's not happened, because it's not now. It's gone.
So Karen is saying that reality is existence in the 3D, which is matter. We are real because we're matter, because we exist.
That's right.
And I say
Period.
that is one perspective of flesh reality. There's another whole reality out there.
Oh, of course. Of course,
Yep.
if we want to get into the complexities of our
Okay.
higher self and our dream world and our our
Yeah,
dream
because
double
that-
and our
Metaphysics.
energy double.
That's my real
Those are-
reality.
those
I
are
don't know about
other
you folks,
realities.
but this is the illusion. And I
Oh,
don't care
yes.
if there's physicality or not. From my perspective, this is just my perspective. I'm a spirit being, and I'm actually residing somewhere else. I'm not actually
definitely.
here. The physical body that I'm occupying is here to help me experience in this reality. But I live somewhere else. I don't live, this is not my everything. And like Brian says, it
Yeah, but
might
we
be
all
my
do.
now.
So you're stepping out the door at the moment of
Exactly.
your home. Yeah.
Yeah, but we all are,
Yeah.
Teresa. We
Yeah.
all exist
Everybody, I'd agree
elsewhere.
with that,
Sure,
yeah.
we
I
all
didn't
do.
say we didn't all do. What I'm
Um,
saying is that I can't define my reality just because I exist and I have flesh. Because that I do exist in other places and other times, and I go and visit those places and times.
That's right. So it still applies. You just said it.
But I'm not
You
all
exist.
flesh.
No, I didn't say anything about flesh. I just said reality
Well, you
is
said
exist.
because we
reality is existence, no matter what reality that is. You can
But then
exist.
you went on to say that it's about the body.
No.
We're real because we're here, you said.
No,
we're real
I
because
did
we're all
not.
here right
Right.
now, is what you said.
No, I said
I misunderstood
no,
what you meant then. What did
I
you two
think
mean?
so.
Okay.
Reality is existence, no matter
Mhm.
where that is and what plane,
Okay.
no matter what, wherever
So you agree
exist.
we can exist in multiple
Oh yeah,
realities at the same
that's
time.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. I didn't deviate that at all. All I said is reality is existence, no matter where that is.
Well, you
or
said we can
wherever it
only
exists.
exist in one place right now.
No. I said
Okay.
as far as this reality with this avatar, as far as this meat suit, right? We can exist right here in the now, but then we also have the past and the future, right?
We seem to
Right.
have the ability
Mhm.
to extend our consciousness out
Extended
from
consciousness
ourselves.
out from that. But as far as
Oh.
our reality of what we exist in this three-dimensional reality in this avatar meat suit, as far
Okay.
as this is it, right?
So
yeah.
if we agree that we can do this and go to multiple
Oh, definitely.
in our minds, can visit other realities, other nows, right?
Mhm.
Then what are we so afraid about?
Who said we're afraid?
A lot of people think
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
people-
can't flip the script.
Yeah.
They think we can't change anything. They think that the sky's going to fall and we're all Chicken Little and the volcano's going to explode and we're all going to die tomorrow. And giant lizards are going to
That's
come rip
because
our
they've bought
faces
into the
off.
fear.
Yeah, depends how you think about it. This reality,
Yeah, the lizards are
It-
coming in my
The
reality.
lizards
is
are
a-
coming
it
to
is a
rip our
death
faces off
reality.
and barbecue us for dinner and all this crap.
Well,
Okay.
it's more.
Well,
It's a bit
So,
more
so it's
prosaic
more
than that.
about, well, what are you going to do until then? How about put it that way? What are you going to do until then?
I'm going to have a
Don't worry
barbecue
about
myself.
that's right. So
Well, you
don't
could
worry
live in the
about what do you-
moment, regret
right,
the
Jules?
past, and fear the
what-
future.
What are you
Just
I
going
don't
to
know.
do
dead.
until they come and
I'm
rip
just
your
going to have a
face
good
off?
time because there's not
That's
my
right.
reality.
That's right.
Well,
What
it's
else?
it's a bit more prosaic than that, because I would suggest that if as the consensus would evolve, we come to the consensus that real reality is actually virtually created, or a virtual reality in and of itself. In other words, that we're living in
Frame
a
it.
simulation. Then I would suggest that all our physical attributes, including things like your name, your history, where you were born, all of that is like just a virtual avatar, as Mandy Moo has pointed out before, that's just designed to limit us in the evolution of our soul in the real reality. That we're just we're basically we become a meat suit, and therefore we lack the consciousness of the greater whole to become any more than what we were born to be.
And then we get back to why is that?
Why is that? Yeah, it's perception.
What is back to
Perception.
why is
That's
that?
why that's why you need to research other theories about reality, things like metaphysics, and things like, for example, the hologram theory, that we're actually living in what would amount to be like a giant video game or a dream universe, for
I
want
have
of a
to,
better word.
Holographic
yeah, I have to,
dream,
yeah,
within
I'd have to
matrix,
agree
within an
there, because
algorithm,
after
program
your
scripts.
Do what, Brian?
Go on, Brian.
uh,
What'd you say?
after the last show you guys did on virtual reality, I had Jim channel his spirit, and reality exists in the spirit realm. So if reality exists in the spirit realm, when we come here in this virtual reality to experience life,
Well,
Do we
it's one of the,
experience
you
life
have
or
to think,
experience death? Do we experience life or death here?
well,
Good
don't we
point.
experience both? And love and ups, downs, whatever. It's
The duality.
it's a virtual reality for your spirit to grow. So if reality exists on the other side in the spirit realm,
Zoe.
and it's just a virtual reality here,
That's right. So then we get into, if this is a virtual reality here, Brian, that we're living in, then what about the next level down of living in the virtual reality of the new AI system into the metaverse of the virtual reality? And how many levels down in the virtual reality do we want to get stuck in?
correct? It can keep
Yeah.
going and going and going.
That's
So
what the
and so
metaverse
we're back
gas
to,
pods were
and
made
then
for.
we're back to this reality, and we don't know, and nobody knows really how many levels down in the reality are we already in.
Hmm. Hmm. And there's no easy
True.
way to find out, because just like in the movie Inception, where they could only get out of their reality by committing suicide or by dying, because you can't die in your dreams. In this reality, well, the theory is that once you die in the dream, you wake up in the real world. And so if you die in this reality, you wake up in whatever reality is above this one.
Well, I say you
Well, and that's how I
die,
think it is
you
when
move
we
on in
sleep.
this one, and then when you're finished moving on from here, you then go into and step into whatever new reality you want to create. And it doesn't, and you can actually go back to an existing reality that you're currently living somewhere else. Choices.
Yeah.
You have so many choices.
which
The
fits
flesh
with
dies.
which fits within the whole concept, which I agree to, is that it's not a place that we go to, it's a vibration frequency or time frame we shift to. So it's a time in reality that we can move forward and back, and mostly
Can you
back.
consciously be in two realities at once?
That's what
I think
I
we're in
say. I think
I
we're in
think
multiple.
we're in multiple. We're in many
Multiple
realities, and
consciousness?
I think that's where the
The
deja vu.
fractals.
Yeah, I think that's where the deja vu
Yeah.
feelings and certain things that we get in this reality as we're living and we're feeling, and that's part of that. We're feeling an exact
Mm-hmm.
occurrence of the same situation, or almost exactly same setup in a parallel universe or reality, or a fractal of yourself that's also experiencing it at the same time.
Yeah, slightly different outcomes.
Just yeah, but you get that it's going
Mhm.
on exactly the same time, and you get the
Yeah.
hair standing on the your back and up your neck, and different things, and so it happens all the time, and I think
You know what I'm
that's some
noticing
kind of
in those,
experience that
though?
way.
What I'm seeming to notice in those, Brian and Jules Calibor, is that in every one of those layers, if you will, or in channels, I talk about changing channels a lot, frequencies, switching frequencies. So you go into a different version of this reality. But what I've noticed is there's always a circular pattern going on. No matter what the incarnation is, no matter what the lessons are that are being learned, every single time I connect with somebody, they're all going through a cycle.
Well, think about it. If you didn't have a loop, Teresa, there would be an end then.
Yeah, so
So if we didn't have a loop, our reality would end. We were always in this loop.
okay,
Well,
but we must know how to get out of it, Karen, because if they're concurrent in multiple realities, and let's say I'm in Greece in one, and I'm in Africa in another, and I'm in Egypt in another, and I'm in Colorado in another, and I'm in Canada in another, and I have different versions of myself doing slightly different things and having a great time. Most of them are, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to say.
Good.
I must have a way of getting out of them in order to slip into another one, or to come back to this one.
Or is our goal to gather, once you have awareness of that in all of your realities and fractals, is it that lesson that in this world to gather all those portions of yourself, all the fractals of yourself,
all the memories
in
all
your
the learnings.
database, learning from what I call the assembly point within your computer and bringing all those in what I would call the totality of yourself. And once you bring that all into the totality of yourself, all
You're
of those
balanced.
versions of yourself, you become that energized being, that energy that you then from then you then can go on to
Gotcha.
wherever you're
That's
going.
That's balance.
Now, John or Dalibor, we just said there's multiple versions of us in each one of these. Which one is getting the cumulative knowledge to do the final?
Well, all of them, because I've observed the same thing. I've been regressed as to my past lives, and all of them, in recent memory, have transpired in Eastern Europe, in one or another Eastern European country. So that means that I'm stuck in like an Eastern European loop. Why? Because I didn't learn the lessons of that past life in the subsequent life. So that's why I keep repeating that same cycle again. Because until I consciously realize that, which I did when I went for past life regression, then I'm just going to keep making those same mistakes again.
I'm more on. There's no less ons.
Less on, more on. Yeah.
I'm a moron.
More on.
That's why
You're a moron.
Mhm.
But I'm a little bit funny. I don't think of anything as lessons. I think of just everything
No.
I think of everything as experiences. Just
Right.
experiences.
Right.
There is no lessons.
Expressions.
I don't think as
experiences,
lessons, growth.
or-
I don't think of nothing. Everything is just an experience, period.
I think
Yeah.
I think there is
That's just me.
lessons
I'm
and
just
growth.
telling you how. No, I don't.
Mhm.
It's just all experiences.
Yeah. It's whatever
just
you
saying
think
how
because that's what you think.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I don't want no lessons. I don't
So
want
in
no
other words,
karma. I don't
so in
want
other
nothing.
words,
I'm just
in
here to
other-
live an experience, and that's it.
in other words, you would call I would call your theory, amusement park Earth. That just like Bill Hicks said, it's just a
Risa.
ride. It's just a ride, and it ends.
Fantasy
and all that.
Island. Tattoo.
Well,
tattoo.
well, no. There's many choices and things that have to go
Oh.
along with that as well, Dalabar. No, it's not. I'm not saying that at all about it. No, think about it. It's just how you choose in your reality and what you choose to live. You can choose
That's right.
that your life is full of lessons or hardship or suffering or whatever.
Whatever
It's
you
just
wanna
a
call
matter of choosing your reality again. It has
In other
nothing.
words,
So, okay, we'll put it this way. Yeah, sure. I want Pleasantville, an amusement park instead of war and suffering and everything. Well, sure. So that's why I don't have it in my life or whatever.
That's right.
Sure.
Correct.
sure. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would prefer to live in like a Norman Rockwell universe, except that that goes to show you how very important it is to control your own thoughts, to realize that okay, right now I'm thinking something unproductive or something negative that's not going to help me in the future and in the long term. So
Yeah, correct. Correct.
every little thought has a lot of
I like that,
importance.
Scotty.
Yeah, no, which is true within this reality. Everything is thought. Okay, from thought, you create a feeling. Okay, and from those thoughts, you can create about a past feeling. You can create about you're feeling emotionally exactly in that moment. You can create a thought about how you might feel about something in the future. From those thoughts and those feelings, you actually create your actions, and from your actions you are created from those feelings, and from those actions you create your reality.
And those future thoughts are what we call instincts. That's why you instinctively feel certain ways about certain things, because those are the lessons you learned from the past life translated into this reality.
Well, this is where that when you start thinking about the future is where you start creating your reality of the future, because that's how you start creating about what you want to create for the future in your reality by how you feel and your thoughts and your patterns. And
Sure.
this is why you can actually change your reality by changing your thought pattern and what you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's
Period.
right about it, not what's wrong with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. It's
Something-
all about our thinking.
That's it.
Yeah, and how we think.
And it's just we're putting all our fractal members back together now so we can be in balance and harmony.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I call
Yeah.
it the totality of ourselves. We're gathering the
Yeah, that's
totality
right. I mean,
of
I
ourselves.
think that was what the experience I had a few weeks ago was that.
I think so too. I think you experienced another reality.
Well, I think that was the integration, showing the integration of the self within the self.
And you'll get those. I've had a few where it's like all of a sudden I'll have 2 or 3 come together, or I'll meet 3 versions, or I'll get, oh, that's why I did this in that reality, and that's why I'm experiencing this right now. It's karma. And I get that. I get that karma, karmic thing. And then
I've never had any regressions. I don't remember any of my past life stuff. So what I think it actually is in my reality is all the information that I get and how I write and stuff is just happening now.
Well, you remember your
other
life.
Places now. It's all happening now.
You have a couple memories of what happened to you as a tree.
Everybody does. Everybody has memories
of
past lives.
Yeah, when you were a tree.
Those are just irrational proclivities or things that I call instinct. That's the reason for it. Yeah, that's why, for example, you instinctively love, for example, French fries, but you don't like hamburgers, or you prefer a certain type of color, or you don't prefer a certain type of color.
But Jules has had some experiences and some memories, but they were experiences, and she's moved on. But they helped open her up.
It was
they helped
trees.
Open her up.
And it was my daughter and the tree. That's where I resonate so much with nature, and why I always rave on about nature. It's nature, is because
she connects.
I just love this planet Earth, and I don't particularly go anywhere else.
Oh, interesting. It's interesting you say that, because you see, I just think of planet Earth as a reality. So this is a reality that I'm in right now, but there's so many others within that are unbelievable that I go to and stuff. That I'm aware that everybody goes.
Yeah, I know a lot of people talk about what they do, and I obviously get downloads and get lots of information, but I get it through nature, right? But I don't go off traveling all over the multiverse, the metaverse, I probably am when I'm dreaming, because when I wake up I get information. But I don't remember, I don't do any of that. I don't meditate to get information. It just comes to me naturally, and that's through being in nature on planet Earth. And I know I've been here for a very, very, very long time on planet Earth.
Yeah. You probably have, Jules. I agree with you. 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So that's where I know I'm here, and I'm here because he and her are here, and wherever you go, you're here, because where is got here in it, and so is there got here in it. So we're here.
Well, we're on planet Earth. You're true, because we're all here, or else we wouldn't be here.
That's right. So why go somewhere else to do all your stuff when you're actually here on planet Earth?
Yeah.
That's what when everyone does all this stuff, I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing? We're here on planet Earth.
We can't go anywhere else. Here we are.
You probably, I can't I don't know what everybody else does, right? We have no idea what anyone else experiences. True. Nobody does. And you can only be who you've come here to be. And it's now. So I'm me now in this moment on the screen looking at trees.
And I have a great time being me in other nows, in other places, looking at the Aegean Sea, skiing off the back of a yacht, jet skiing on Lake Tahoe, being in a car, driving through the desert, jumping over mountains. I love who I am in other versions of me and in other locations. It's not all about now. And the reason that's important to me is because as I'm shifting energies, I could choose to continue to be in this crazy wackadoodle, nuts crazy, vacky, all the crap they're doing to us in this reality, or I can choose to shift to
no one's doing anything to us. Right? No one's doing anything to us.
We shift the way we think things are happening.
You can't blame anybody for what you see.
Dream about what you think about.
That's
you
right.
Dream about. If I want to bring
one's
about
doing
an
anything.
afternoon at Lake Tahoe, that's where I'll be. See what I'm saying? But if somebody comes into me and says, "Oh, guess what our reality is? All these people chopped up all these human beings and made them chop liver and put them in our burger meat." That's
Ugh.
not my reality. I don't need to hear that. It's not something I need to be aware of. I don't want to bring that into my now. You know?
That's it. That's
I'll
it.
I'll go do something else for a while, but I don't want to bring that into my now. There's so many unpleasant things I just don't want to have any part
That's
of.
why. And why go on about that? And when people keep going on about it, you're bringing it into your reality.
You're thinking it
So that's
into
why. That's
making
why
it real.
Jules does what she
I
does.
disagree with that. I don't think I'm creating it in my reality by thinking about it. I think other people's are trying to create it in their reality and expand it to mine. And by talking
That's a
about
good
it,
way
I
of
can
thinking,
make people aware of it and hopefully stop it. Because eventually their reality is going to encroach on my reality, and I don't like that idea.
Yeah,
But you're right, John. If you have enough energy and awareness about yourself and within yourself, you can exactly stop and choose how much other people's bubble of reality impinge on
Right.
your reality or bubble. See, so that's where you have the
And-
power of
but that
personal
again-
energy and power to choose that, right? So that's where it's important to have that personal power energy to choose.
Yeah,
Right?
I can control my mood. I can control my thoughts. I can control my energy. I can somewhat have an influence on people around me. But when they start changing laws and stuff, my energy has to be much stronger and much more out there to change that.
Well, see, that ties
Because
back
that's an
into the
external
physical.
thing.
That ties them back in with the physical reality, in that your reality is dependent on things like your location. Like the experiences of a person living in China today is way different than the
Mhm.
experiences of somebody living in the
Yeah,
Netherlands.
they've got to really extend
Correct.
their reality out
Yes.
from themselves.
And it's
A
not like
lot.
it's not like the individuals living there can do a whole lot about that collective reality.
I've
Yeah.
got
Right.
to
And the initial
I've got to
where
go.
they live is not a choice.
You gotta go,
right?
Jules. You leaving?
In my reality, it's starting to rain here on the veranda.
So I gotta go.
Yeah, it's blowing in and it's getting wet. So
That's because you're so sweet, you're full of
Yep.
sugar, and you're gonna melt. That's why
That's
you better
right.
get in
There you
there,
go.
sweet girl.
Yeah.
well,
Get out of the
it
rain.
might just get a little bit noisy as the rain comes in and hits the tablet or something. So I'm thinking of you guys having to put up with a bit of rain.
Yeah, that's right.
So thank you all. Thank
Enjoy
you
the
all
rest
for
of
your
your
different
day.
talents. And I thank you, Max, for allowing us to come onto
Oh,
your
no problem.
platform.
Thank you, Jules, for coming.
And everybody
Awesome
for
having
your
you.
Thank you,
Have a wonderful
Jules.
day, Julie.
Enjoy
Bye,
the rest of your
Jules.
day,
Take care,
Jules.
Jules. Take care.
Love
bye.
you.
Love you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Love you too.
Although I think probably I don't know what time have we gone. Like we're like at an hour and a half, I think here
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. So we've gone, our time frame, I think, sort of.
Have a go.
So yeah, so we'll just maybe start closing off, and just John, anybody wanted to make any comments about our virtual reality, and any last comments?
I would say virtual reality, even as we've discussed it, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and so is ugliness, and so is reality. Reality is in the eye of the beholder as much as unreality. So it depends on how you focus your consciousness. How you focus your consciousness depends on the type of reality you ultimately wind up experiencing. Because let's say you go into a restaurant, or and you look at the menu. Well, you're not going to be focusing on those menu items which you despise. No, you're only going to pick out the ones you like and order those. You're not going to, like for example, I despise potatoes, so I'm not going to start going off like, oh, this restaurant serves potatoes, they suck. No, I'm just going to order, a spaghetti meal or whatever, something that
Okay.
doesn't include potatoes.
Okay. I just thought something just popped in my head, really simple
tell me.
about reality and about it. Just a simple question when two people meet and somebody asks of somebody, well, how are you today? Well, I'll tell you people's reality. You have many different responses about how people think. People respond, not good, not bad, I'm okay. How about I'm great? Life couldn't be better. See what I mean about reality and personal reality? A simple question about where people's
That's
state
right.
of mind is a reality was a simple question. How are you today? And my response to people is always, I'm great. But I ask that to people and I watch their response, right?
Yeah.
And the same people say the same thing all the time. Well, not good. Not well. Okay. Well, there. I rest my case.
I'd like to share something that Linda Brooks is asking. What about children who experience
Yep.
these bad things? Do you
Sure.
think a child is focusing its reality for that to happen? Before you guys jump in, let me just tell you a very quick story.
Past lives.
It's not only about my story, but I had a friend who had a very similar story. Neither one of us called these things into our life. We were too young to know about how to call things in. So sometimes it's just about what some people call their contract, what they agreed to when they came here, or how they decided to manifest. I don't know, for whatever reason, I was put in that situation. So was a friend of mine too. And we lived through it. It's what we choose to, as we get older, handle ourselves moving forward. So I would have to say that children who experience bad things might end up through activities later in life reliving that experience in the way in which they think about things and approach things. And so what we'll do is we'll assume somebody else is going to treat us the same way, or somebody else is going to do something to us that we already went through when we were younger. So we're traumatized by it and don't realize it. And we store it in our memory banks. And then later, as we get older, then the choices that we make and the ways in which we do things can bring about those things because we've already lived those bad experiences. Am I making sense? We've already
Sure.
lived it, so
Yeah, but what you're
we
saying
know.
basically, Teresa, no matter what, everything and everybody experiences from the time they're born creates the person who they are and the reality they live
Yeah,
within. So the people would not be who they are without any of their experiences from
no, but I can
the
tell you
time
that
they're
plenty
born. So
plenty
that makes
people
who they are
who
no matter what.
plenty people who
Sorry.
experience plenty people who experience abuse will continue to have it. They'll continue to have it with their mates, whether it's a
Mhm.
girlfriend or a boyfriend, a
Until
husband or they'll, because they'll be looking for is they'll be projecting that into their reality is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, until the cycles are broken, which we could get into another whole show about that. And Brian can talk about that, about cyclical patterns and cyclical, which come
Mm-hmm.
from your parents, right? From as soon as you're born, your reality starts taking shape,
Hmm.
right? From the moment you're born, you're programmed. And it starts with your parents, right? And so you take on all of the cyclical and the patterns of your parent. And those are the things that as you grow and experience, you can either be like your parents or not like your parents or everything in between. Yeah, that's how we become individual people, right? And that's how we become, that's how kind of reincarnation happens. We're reincarnated, believe it or not. The children, we are the offshoot of reincarnations of our parents, right? No matter how you look at it. So that's how it is, and that forms our reality. No matter how you think about it, good, bad,
Well,
it really, no, really, just everybody has all good and bad experiences throughout their whole life to shape and form them, and that creates our reality, period. You know,
and this has been a good discussion because we all have different perceptions on what it means for us, what reality is, what it means to us, how we experience it, whether we create, how we go about creating it, various different thoughts on how that happens, and how we shift around those different realities. So we are like minded in that we all want to talk about this and recognize it, that there is something going on here, but we're also very different. and how we interpret it and
Exactly, because
express it.
I would
And
say
it's
the key here is to know how to be able to change your reality, and because it's not just your perceptions of reality that matter, but the actual reality itself. And there's always ways to change any kind of reality that you're experiencing right now, no matter how bad it is. You just might not realize it. You just not might not know that it's there, or it might be something so wildly improbable. Like, let's say, I don't know, you're $100,000 in debt and no job, no education, nothing. Well, how do you know how to get out of that? You don't, because you don't have all the knowledge. Like, the solution to your problems may very well be pulling down your pants in the middle of the street and dumping a turd right in the middle of the street. That could be the solution. But you don't know that.
You don't know.
You don't know.
thank God that's not my reality.
Oh, good one, Dalmor.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's not mine.
I hope you create all of your reality. That way that will never happen.
Yeah, well,
You're not coming to the gathering by any chance, are you?
it's kind of difficult to drive to.
There is my theory of other people's reality imposing on yours. So,
Yes.
I might come to visit you someday.
You're welcome to.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Which brings me, folks. It's 10:43.
Yep.
John, you have been so gracious to host
Thank
us
you
for
so
long,
much,
and
John.
Oh, you guys
Really,
are
Thank
really,
you.
really appreciate
Thank you,
this.
John.
And so does Lori. She said digging in and doing what she needs to get done. And I got some hardware. I got some a cable and a connector, and I have a 6-user license of StreamYard. So we'll try to do maybe Mandy's Crystal show in a few weeks from now. We have a couple pre-records coming up, y'all. We did some really fascinating pre-records with this friend of ours, Mohammed Ibrahim from Egypt. You can see his layout on the Crystal Network. He's going to tell us in our pre-recorded session that we're going to play next week. Or no, that's at the end of the month. And then we have Gazakov with Laird Scranton that we recorded last week on next week. So we'll post them with a live chat room. We'll be in the chat room with you, and you'll see the whole interview because there were several panelists involved in interviewing those folks. So they're great shows, good content, a lot of information, and maybe we'll have a chance to go live again before the gathering with another program. I think Mandy's got one on crystals coming up. So, okay. So go to the website, check it out, see the spread. Anything you want to say about that, Karen?
Nope, just go to the Crystal Network, and it's expanding daily. And there's so much good information there. And and if anybody wants to add anything, contribute in all the areas, just get a hold of myself or Teresa, or just the Crystal Network. There's a contact area there. So
If I can figure it out, I'll put a link to it in the comments.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
and buy my T-shirts. Yeah, the ones that just say nothing on them.
Buy your T-shirts that say nothing. Well, a blank slate is always good to start with.
Just one monochrome, one color T-shirt that says nothing.
Yeah.
Well, Mary's a Blue Wrench. She can, whoever the Blue Wrench moderator. I can't tell on StreamYard here who you are, but if you have the link to
better, James.
Queen of Crystal Network, that would be great. Because we can order the cards there. Al's ready. We found out who the last 2 holdouts were. Actually, last 3 for the card deck. So deck number 2 for the tribute card deck is going to be completed soon. He only has like 6 more artwork pieces, but folks need to get their pictures into him. Get your information and pictures in there. Jill Jarrett is one of them that he was trying to track down. And I think Chloe, I'm not sure. I think he got yours. But there's a couple on here that he doesn't know how to get a hold of. So if you know them, if anybody out there knows them, please spread the word. We're trying to reach them because they're not on Discord or Messenger. And it's, let me get down here, Ramjer. Does everybody know Ramjer? Ramjer?
Yeah, I have his information actually because I just did crystals for him.
All right, and Christine 09 Clat 2. Gives us 09 Clat 2. We're working with her. Let's see, Lauren Staggs, Staggs, Lauren Staggs, Zigzagzilla. We need photographs, folks, and we need your birth sign. Smurfette, it's been a while. I think I have your stuff from way back, but it's archived so far back. I'm trying to get it back out on top. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to reach those last few people so Al can work on their cards and get them out, you know. Then he'll be able to put the deck on for pre-orders. All right.
Okay.
We good?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Well,
Oh,
one
the
last
gathering.
thing.
One thing about the gathering, yep.
Yes. Yes, the gathering is 6 weeks from today. And we still got a lot of spots open up. I actually thought when we first were going to do this, that I would actually be turning people away because this is, the first gathering that we are going to have. So if you're thinking about it, stop thinking, sign up, register. We would love to have you. There's plenty of spots open up still.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't wait
And
till
that
the
can also
last
be
minute.
found on the Crystal Network. Right, because I need to know at least 2 weeks in advance so I can prepare, how much food I'm going to need to be able to feed people. So,
Supplies. Yeah.
and that's 4 weeks away. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can get on and
If
register
you're
and
thinking
pay
about
now.
coming,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay.
I would love to have you all here.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Brian. I'm sure everybody would want to come for sure. Oh, we'll try our hardest.
I can't. They have to jibby jab me before I go
Yep.
across anywhere. So
I know you guys.
Well,
in
see, I'm in
Canada
the same
talk-
position as you, John. We're
yeah.
yeah. See,
Apparently,
I'm
if you
waiting to
apparently
see
you can
when
drive
things
across.
change.
You can drive across though, and they can't get you. You just have to
Oh.
refuse for hours.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
All right. Love everybody. And thank
All
you
right.
so much again,
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you.
everybody. Love
Yeah,
you all.
everyone.
Thanks,
Love
everybody.
you all.
Thanks, moderators. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See you next time.
All right.